This is Jordan Tower with JT News. I hope you guys are having a great Monday, and let's get started with the news. Okay, so hit that subscribe button, smash that thumbs up button. I hope you guys are having a great day, like I said before. Okay, so first off, we got Pop Smoke, Welcome to the Party. Big song in New York right now. He's the new up-and-coming artist out of New York City. It sounds a lot like London rap. Or like how Gigs and other people rap. That's what Pop Smoke sounds like to me. And it's taken off, okay? So Nicki Minaj was previewed to be on the remix as well as YG at his release party. But Meek Mill popped up with a remix little snippet the other night. So I'm wondering, is Nicki Minaj and Meek Mill going to be on the same remix, which would be awkward on Pop Smoke's remix, you know? Or is Meek Mill doing that just to spite Nicki? These guys take little shots at each other over the past year, ever since they've broken up, and Meek dropped an album. He went back to jail, and then he came home, and ever since people have been embracing Meek Mill, Nicki has taken little shots here and there at him, saying like, oh, you need features. You know, she'll do blatant little subliminals at him that everyone picks up on, you know, like you need features on your album, or she did the whole thing where she was in a bad relationship, but she wouldn't allude to who it was, and you know, she couldn't find herself, and you know, a lot of things. And I hope they're done with all that, because like you're a little too, both of them are too, you know, it's like time to move on. It's been a few years, unless they still love each other. I mean, then that could be it too, but who knows. But Nicki seems happy, Meek seems happy, and they didn't seem that great together. Like they're more productive apart from each other. Sometimes you can be in a relationship that's good, but it can hold you back. We've all been in a relationship like that. Anyways, this will be interesting to see if this is unofficial or official remix. Was it done purposely? I don't know. You know, we'll have to see. Next up, it looks like Drake might be signing Tay 600's team, or he's just using them to promote the OVO store in Chicago, if there is one. I don't know. Maybe it was a pop-up shop. But, a lot of going on if they are not signing, okay? They better be signing, the whole team wearing owls and everything, you know? Like, that's the only reason I could say, like, oh, yeah, this is good. Otherwise, it's just, too much. You know, it's like Tay 600. I haven't heard, ever since Tay 600 got out of jail a couple months ago, I haven't heard anything from him. We'll have to see what happens. He was on a good streak before he went in. Drake was messing with him. He was putting out a lot of videos. We'll have to see what happens with him. But hopefully, if he does sign to OVO, that would be big, for him, and we'll have to see what happens with Drake and his label. I don't know if he's off Cash Money Young. We don't know what's going on with Drake, let's be honest. He said he was dropping an album this year. Was he talking about these Lucy's he just released, or is he actually going to drop an album before the year's over? We don't know, but the Lucy's did more than most people's albums. Drake is far from over. Then we got Young Buck. He might have changed his name officially to Buckshots. He's always kind of gone by that nickname, but this might be his way out of the G-Unit deal. The only problem is there already is a Buckshot Shorty named Buckshot Shorty from Black Moon, okay, from back in the day, and people aren't happy with that. But is this a way for him to escape his G-Unit deal? I mean, 50 Cent has said he's going to just shelf him, because Young Buck went at 50 Cent, which was kind of uncalled for around Christmas time. And hasn't anybody learned throughout their years of doing business that you don't go, if you got a boss, you don't go at the boss. The boss can stop you in your tracks. You signed a contract with 50. I can't even feel sorry for Buckshot at this point, because I'm calling him Buckshot already. Young Buck at this point, because he he had his chance to leave G-Unit. You know, they had their turmoil in 2007 and 2008, and by 2010 he was able to get out of the deal, thanks to some people that I'm affiliated with too, that helped him get out of his G-Unit deal. And then he re-signed with 50 in 2013-14 to reunite, to do the G-Unit thing with Lloyd Banks and Young Buck. With Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo. And that didn't quite work out. I mean, it worked out, but it just, and Young Buck did get back to making money, but it didn't stay together as a unit. Lloyd Banks eventually went on to do his own thing. Tony Yayo is always going to be with 50 Cent. They're best friends. But Young Buck was unhappy, especially because, 50 Cent shows a lot more attention to doing movies and television shows now, and not so much on music. And I think Young Buck feels left out, especially when 50 Cent's buying 20 cars at a time around Christmas time. I don't know, and he totally went at 50 Cent multiple times, saying, "Let me out of my contract, open the books," accusing 50 Cent of taking his money, saying he wrote songs for 50 Cent, and, it's just not smart. It would have been better to handle that behind the scenes, get out of your deal, and just move on, if you feel like you're being held back. I don't know, Lloyd Banks seemingly did that, even if he has a problem with 50, he kept it under wraps, and Lloyd Banks has always kind of been someone that just minded his own business and everything, So, that's what's going on with that. We'll have to see, but I think he changed his name to try to get out of his, to release music not under the name he signed under, but you did sign your government name to the contract as well. So, I don't know, and going by a name of somebody that already exists, I don't know. Now, let's get into this part. So, I saw this article in a magazine, and it said 20 traits to signs that you're destined to become a millionaire, and I thought this was very funny. Okay, now some of these, let's go through it. I couldn't put it in order. I just streamed them up above, but I'll go through it in order right now. Okay, and we'll say yeah or no. Okay, so it says you started making money at a young age. Well, that shows that you're a born entrepreneur and you're a go-getter, okay? I know I started making money when I was 8 or 9, trying to shovel walks for people when it snowed out. I was trying to do anything I could do to get money when I was younger. I'm sure a lot of you are the same way. I just always liked money, because money to me is freedom, and my family didn't have a lot of extra money, so I had to kind of go out and get, if I wanted extra things. I mean, I wasn't poor, but my family wasn't poor, but they were getting by. So if I wanted extra things, I had to get it on my own. I mean, everybody has different circumstances they're born with. I was lucky that my family was at least getting by. I know that a lot of kids have it even worse. They have to take on the burden of the whole family. And that could be a big strain. Next up, so I think that one's a good one. You're an overachiever, of course. You got to be an overachiever to get to the millions. Okay, that's obvious. You're attractive. That's an absolute lie, unless you're going to be a model or something. So that's a lie. Some of these things are ridiculous. You have an action-oriented mindset. Of course, you got to be, about that action. You can't just think about things. You got to take action. So that's a good one. You possess a sense of urgency. Yes, you can't wait till tomorrow. Gotta be done today. I'm a procrastinator, so maybe I'm not destined. But I noticed that people that get things done do go. Of course, they'll go faster ahead. They'll get ahead faster because they're getting things done and not putting things off. You're focused more on earning than saving. Now that could be a problem if you don't save enough for a failure. You could totally fall flat on your feet. You got to have a good, fine balance between earning and saving, I think. So that one's a little bit false. Next one, keep an open mind, of course. You can't just be stuck in your ways. You were Mr. or Mrs. Popular in high school. No. I always found that those people are the ones that fail. The ones that I was in high school, I would say more in middle school, I was always teased. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was never Mr. or Mrs. Popular. I was always just there. I remember in middle school I had it bad. I was teased a lot until I went away to school. And then I just wasn't teased a lot, but it was like, I was never the popular kid, I was never that. And I'm not saying I'm a millionaire, because I'm not, but I'm just saying I did find success, You're able to live below your means. Oh, that's very important. Very important. I think that you gotta, you don't spend all your money and are always behind in your bills. That's very important. It says you can defer gratification. That's good. That means that, like, if you got a $20,000 check, you're not going to go on a trip right away to feel good or buy a new car or this. You hold on to the money, and that money is your tool to make more money, or it gives you power. And deferring that gratification of spending it and showing you're successful, that gets you to more money. You have a mentor. That one right there, I don't know. I think that's more of a shortcut to getting to the millions, because you can learn from somebody else's mistakes and everything else. So you don't have to have a mentor. You're not stuck in the past. I think it's very healthy to look back at your past and then say, like, okay, this is where I made my mistakes, and sometimes reflect on your past. But if you live in your past, I know some people that always are stuck in the past. If only this happened, if only I knew my dad, or if only my parents supported me. If you I get away from people like that. If you're always talking about the failures in your past and you're not reflecting on them, you're always stuck there and living for excuses of why this happened to you and this. If something just happened to you, it takes a little bit to get past that, but you leave it in the past and you move forward to your future, because that's all you got left. You can't relive the past. You can learn from your mistakes in the past, and it's good to reflect on the past, but you should live in the present and future. So I think that's more important. You're a goal setter. Of course, you got to have goals, and I never go too high with your goals, though. I always believe in a step ladder system, So, like, if you only have $100 now, your goal should be to get to 1,000 in savings. If you have 1,000 right now, get to 10,000. You have 10,000, get to 20,000. Don't go right to the million. Some people like set too high goals, and if you set your goals too high, you get let down. Let's see. You aren't divorced. I think that's more of comedy, because if you are divorced, you have that strain of maybe alimony or failure. You know how to maximize your strengths. That's a good one. You should know what your strengths are and focus on those. You're optimistic. You could be overly optimistic. I think there's a fine balance with reality and being optimistic. What is, I'm going to be a millionaire next week. That might be too optimistic. Or, we're printing these t-shirts and they're going to sell out. You should believe that you could sell those t-shirts out, but be realistic of how you're going to market to them, and don't overprint. Some people think, if I print 1,000 of these things, I have to get rid of them. No. Start low with 100. Some people are overly optimistic with things, they set their goals too high, like I was saying before. Set realistic goals and be optimistic about those goals. Don't be overly optimistic. You may have a drink, but you don't smoke. That was like stupid in that magazine article. I know plenty of millionaires who smoke. Okay, I don't smoke, but it doesn't matter. You have thick skin. That's not true. I know a lot of successful people that doubt themselves, and sometimes that's healthy. And a lot of successful people that, they don't have thick skin. I mean, I think it's important to brush things off and don't let things bother you too much. But most people become successful out of being petty. These are the kids that are picked on, or, just turned down by hot girls, and they are motivated by that. And so their skin isn't that thick. They're very bothered by it, but they're motivated by not having a thick skin. which makes them successful. So I don't believe in that one. You keep up with current events. No, I don't believe in that. You're constantly improving yourself. I think that's very important to constantly try to be better. I'm not good at that. I have to get better at that. Of improving my weaknesses and finding where I'm weak and trying to improve on those things. Well, that's it for that one. I'll do this every once in a while. These are interesting little lists that people make. Anyways, guys, I'll check you guys in the next one. This is Jordan Tower with JT News. I hope you guys have a great day and stay tuned for the next video.